Hello my friend and welcome back. My name is Hannah and this is day 3 of Indie Week, and today we're going to be talking about Melt Cosmetics. If you're curious about anything that I'm wearing on my face or anything, well, some of the items I'm going to mention in this video I don't personally own, and I'm probably going to talk about a lot of different Melt items. I'll link Melt's website down below, but if you're curious about the specific items I'm wearing, I will have those direct links as well down below. I also link my social media down below, and if you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I feel like so many content creators went on like a break, which very well deserved, but it's just been like a content drought. All my usual like podcasts aren't really operating at their normal hours, and they don't come back for like another week. So if you're like me and you're looking for content, binge watch my videos. I have quite a few. I post between 4 to 5 times a week, and you can just listen to me in the background as white noise if you're interested. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about Melt Cosmetics because I think they're a good in-between for like a brand like Blended Bunny Cosmetics and ColourPop. Where Blended Bunny Cosmetics is just branching out. I believe they just debuted like in 2022, or excuse me, 2021. I'm already screwing up the years. And ColourPop is such a well-known brand that some people wouldn't even consider it an indie brand. And I feel like Melt kind of falls in between the two, because Melt is available at Sephora in the same way that ColourPop is available at Ulta, but people still know Melt and talk about Melt as it being an indie brand, where they don't kind of share that same respects to ColourPop. And where ColourPop, you know, there's not really a face to ColourPop. It's just a brand with like a laboratory kind of thing, very faceless. There's 2 women who are the founders of Melt Cosmetics and kind of the face of Melt Cosmetics, and I think that also ties into the aesthetic of Melt Cosmetics. They're like the Etsy indie brand, like a dream. Like they would love to just kind of pop off in the same way that I would assume that Melt Cosmetics has. Melt Cosmetics is still to this day an indie brand, and those 2 women are still running the show. Because sometimes you see like an indie brand like get really, really popular and then they get bought up, which is fine. I don't know, it's a business move, but they've kept their indie status, and I don't know, I feel like they're an interesting brand because I've kind of seen them grow. If I remember correctly, the Motion started in 2012, but they really debuted in 2013. And if you're familiar with my channel, or maybe you're not, I was really big into makeup between 2010 and 2016. I was watching a lot of makeup content. I was always in a Ulta, always in a Sephora. I was one of those suckers where like if something was trending on the internet and they're like, you have to get it, I got it. Like the chocolate souffle bronzer from Too Faced, the Born This Way foundation from Too Faced. And I remember Melt Cosmetics kind of coming out and people really talking about it, and I think they're very cool. They're a cool brand. So when they first debuted, it was with like 5 different lipstick shades. I don't know if those shades are still available. I know that they've kind of revamped their formula. A lot of people say they love the old formula and hate the new formula. I'm someone that's used the new formula and I don't mind it. I think it's actually quite nice. But I feel like Melt also isn't quite known as a lipstick brand anymore and is more known as like an eyeshadow brand. Like when people are talking about Melt, they're talking about the eyeshadows. There's a little bit about, like, they released some nudes, or like a mini nudes collection, I believe last year. Was it spring last year or the beginning of like the autumn season? And there was like some talk about it, but no one was making like review videos and like swatch videos and things like that. Like there wasn't as much hype behind it as there was their holiday release. And I don't know, so to kind of bring it back, Melt Cosmetics is run by 2 Latino women, and they're from the Los Angeles area, and I think they have like the I don't want to say like the typical story of like retail worker turns makeup artist, you know, and then they're like, oh, I want to make the products I want to use, but that's kind of exactly the story. But they're more of like the Latin goth kind of aesthetic. Like if you've played Cyberpunk, and you're in the like, what is that area called? I can't remember, but it's like the Valentinos and like Jackie and them and like their whole aesthetic. That's basically what these two ladies are. That's kind of like the same aesthetic of their makeup looks. Like I swear, like the creators of ColourPop of Cyberpunk must have looked at some of the promo photos for the Melt Cosmetics, because like the makeup almost looks like exactly the same, or like there's everybody who's into cyberpunk aesthetic kind of knows this is like the look. But I swear when I saw it, I'm like, oh, this is Melt. Like they have this shade. You can definitely recreate your V character with Melt Cosmetics. And I think it's really cool. It's interesting because I don't know, I feel like in 2013, 2014, women with like a lot of tattoos, like it was like not that it wasn't popular, I just feel like it wasn't as commonplace, or like it was still considered edgy and different. And I remember at the time when they would drop things and do their promo photos, a lot of people compared them to KVD Beauty, because Kat Von D herself is a Latin woman who was a tattoo artist covered in tattoos and was doing the same kind of like edgy makeup, where I feel like Kat Von D is more of like the LA Noir, like pinup kind of aesthetic. These girls are really just like the punk goth, like, I don't know, The Cure meets anime. That's kind of funny. Which is really cool. And I think a brand like this is really, really popular because I think people like that. I think for the same reason a brand like Jeffree Star Cosmetics really like took off. I mentioned Jeffree Star, well, not because I mentioned KVD, but KVD Beauty, Jeffree Star Cosmetics, and Melt all kind of came out of this like Los Angeles area. And even though they're three unique kind of like aesthetics, I feel like they're neighboring kind of looks, if you will, because where Jeffree Star is more of like punk, that's neighboring between, you know, like the more goth side of LA, and then, you know, you have like the pinup girls, if you will, that kind of play between both sides. And it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like a very, I don't know, like now I'm thinking of like Bailey Sarian, because like I know she loves Melt Cosmetics, and like I can see her doing all three of these kind of looks, but it's like natural to her because she's also like an LA baby. I don't know, you have to be from California, I guess, to like understand. I can't really put it into words. You just know. But they're a really cool brand, and I think they have a lot of cool concepts and ideas, and it's really interesting to see where they've come because their packaging has definitely changed over time. I think the way that they kind of put products together and what they're focused on has definitely shifted. Like with this Mariposa palette, I think it was unique because if you are aware of Melt Cosmetics, they have a lot of like 420 friendly kind of items. How many weed reference palettes do they have? Like I can think of 3 of them right now. Like I can see them in my brain. And they kind of they almost for a little bit kind of just became known as like this weed brand, but that's not what they are. But like it's cool that like, I don't know, this is what I mean by like they're cool in that like they're this indie brand that's doing edgy things. Because if Jaclyn Hill wanted to come out with like a weed themed palette, I don't know if that would really fly. Not that like, I don't know, I feel like weed is a bit more widely acceptable, and we see brands like did Beauty Bay have one? I don't know. You see a bunch of like smaller little brands, or like Makeup Revolution, and like NYX even has like the CBD oil kind of stuff in their products. And it's, so I don't know, but I think it would be hard for Jaclyn Hill to, I think it would be hard for Rihanna to be like, hey, I want to release a Fenty product that's like inspired by 420, and she's like a 420 princess, you know what I mean? So for them to be an indie brand and able to kind of push that kind of, I wouldn't say like a message, but that kind of theming, is different and it's unique, even though they've done it a few times. Where was I going with this? I don't know. They're a really cool brand, and it's really, their packaging. So with their packaging, I remembered the Stack eyeshadow palettes, and I don't have my original She's and Parties palette. Like, I got decluttered that a long time ago. I didn't even buy it. A girlfriend of mine had bought it, and I just played with it so much that she was just like, just take it, just have it, because I don't reach for it. You can have it, love it. And I did, and it was like my favorite. I think that's kind of how I fell in love with purple eyeshadows to begin with. I don't know. I think I had it I know that I dropped it, and then the shadows just shattered, and I was just kind of bummed out. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of like, I probably couldn't afford to like repurchase it, you know what I mean? But I don't know, like I remember like a specific time of like me always wearing that eyeshadow palette. But it is the palette that I'm wearing today, but now they have it more in a traditional palette form. I do think that this formula is a lot better. I do enjoy it a lot more. I don't know, it's today I've done kind of like a reverse halo eye. I don't know how well I did, but I love this palette so much, and I love the formula so much that like even just kind of smudging a shade or two in my sockets without any rhyme or reason, I really enjoy it. And I think that it's cool that they're taking some of their palettes, those Stack palettes, and they're transitioning it into this kind of palette form. I don't know, as far as like their more recent releases, was I talking about their holiday release? And then I got sidetracked about their weed theming. So let me backtrack. Their holiday release was based off the theme of like love and loss kind of thing, and just celebrating life. And it was very sweet and very tender. And this isn't the first time they've used like insects in their theming. They have the little bee collection. I have all 3 of those. Those are my favorite blushes of all time. I don't think they had an eyeshadow palette that went with it. I think it was just those duos, and maybe they had a mirror. They were limited edition because like the packaging is unique, and it has a little bee on it, and like it's so cute. Anyway, this palette in particular was just different because, like I said, it's more kind of like insect themed, and the theming behind it is a bit more sentimental, you know. You can tell me that you love weed and that you're this big stoner, and that palette named Mary Jane like means something to you. But I think something about celebrating your loved ones and life and things like that is just a bit more, I don't know, I feel like it's a bit more meaningful to a lot of other people. And I think they're really tapping into like this artistry kind of concept, and I'm really looking forward to their future releases, because this holiday release was so artistic, and the theming was so cool, and the colors are so awesome, and I know that they really deliver for like their holiday releases. But I don't know, this was just something very unique and special, and I'm excited to see what they come out with next. So that being said, I do love the She's and Parties palette. It's my favorite. I do have the Gemini palette, and I do have the Millennial Pinks palette. I do actually want to pick up the Brunette and the Mary Jane palette. I have my eyes on those, more so the Mary Jane than I do the Brunette palette, but I think that I'm going to reach for that. I truly do, but then I'm like, over my other milk like palettes, maybe not so much. But I think I don't know, I look at it and it makes me happy, so I want it. And today I'm even wearing the liquid lipsticks that I thought that I wasn't like a huge fan of, but honestly, like this is a comfortable lipstick. Like, yeah, I have a little bit of that like tackiness that you get with like liquid lips, like it's always kind of there, and it's maybe not like the most moisturizing, but it's not super drying, and I don't really feel it so much on my lips. And it's such a flattering color. Like if I wasn't wearing an intense purple eye and just had like this nude lip with like maybe a brown smoky eye, like I would wear that all the time. It's very cute. And I don't know, I got the holiday mystery box. So that's how I was able to get a bunch of other things. And honestly, I think that was such a cool mystery box because I got this highlighter that I'm wearing today that has been one of my favorite pink highlighters of all time. I have this, like, their cream blushes are also really nice. Like, I don't know, Melt is one of those brands where, like, they are very edgy, but you can do, like, a no makeup kind of thing with them. Like, I don't know, they don't just cater to, like, the edgy alt girls. You can be like, I don't know, basic Betty, and still wear their products and still enjoy it. And I think that they're really fun. There is some criticism to their eyeshadow formula. Like, I know a lot of people don't like the Mary Jane palette. A lot of people don't like the 420 palette. They're like, the formula is absolutely terrible, blah, blah, blah. There's been all this hullabaloo about the Gemini palette. I won't go there. I've already said my piece about the Gemini palette. It's one of my favorites, although I do have the One Shade Gemini that, like, I don't know, it just crumbles on me, but still one of my favorite palettes of all time. And I've enjoyed their lipsticks, and I don't know, I think they're a really cool indie brand. And if I were going to suggest an indie brand to someone or introduce someone to kind of like more colorful and more edgy makeup, like Melt Cosmetics would be one of those brands that I suggest to them, because they do have safe products like their cream blushes, and they have the really nice highlights that, you know, that can complement a more like subtle kind of look. And then you can get something like the Shadow Play, like blush light, where, you know, now you got green on your face. You can show them how to put like the sex foil underneath their foundation and give you more of like a tint to your skin. I think it's a really cool brand, and I'm very happy to talk about it. I don't know, I wanted to do like a full face and like show you guys how I did it, but like a lot of the products that I'm using aren't necessarily new, and I just wanted to kind of sit down and talk about a brand. I know it's not very much like a history lesson, and I'm kind of all over the place, but I think it would be cool to maybe do like the history of Melt Cosmetics, because I don't even think they're on Wikipedia. But let me know in the comments down below, what is one of your favorite Melt items? Are you wanting to try Melt Cosmetics after hearing my rambling about them? What is maybe something that you remember from like the early days of Melt? Do they even have, like, do you love an item that they no longer sell anymore, or loved a shade that like doesn't exist in their collection anymore? I would love to know, and I would love to talk makeup with you guys. And I will see you guys for tomorrow's video, which is day 4 of Indie Week, and I'm pretty excited because I think the video is going to be so fun. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.